Welcome to this model. In this model, let us have an insight of near and far field regions. The field around an antenna may be divided into two principal regions, one near the antenna called the near field or Fresnel zone, and the one at large distance called the far field or Fraunhofer region. The boundary between the two may be arbitrarily taken at a radius r is equal to 2l squared by lambda. Right. And where L is the maximum dimension of an antenna and lambda is the wavelength. In the far or Fraunhofer region, the measurable field components are transverse to the radial direction from the antenna, and all power flow is directed radially toward outward. Like in the far field, the shape of the field pattern is independent of the distance, and the near or Fresnel region, the longitudinal component of electric field may be significant, and the power flow is not entirely radial. In the near field, the shape of the field pattern depends in the general on the distance. Enclosing the antenna in an imaginary boundary sphere, it is as though the region near the poles of the sphere act as reflector. On the other hand, the waves expanding perpendicular to the dipole in the equatorial region of the sphere result in power leakage through the sphere as if partially transparent in this region. This results in reciprocating energy flow near the antenna accompanied by outward flow in the equatorial region. The outflow accounts for the power radiated from the antenna, while reciprocating energy represents reactive power that is trapped near the antenna like a resonator. So this oversimplified discussion accounts into a qualitative way for the field patterns of lambda by 2 pole dipole antenna. For a lambda by 2 dipole antenna, the energy is stored at one instant of time in the electric field, mainly near the ends of antenna or maximum charge regions, while half period later is energy stored in the magnetic field, mainly near the center of the antenna or maximum current region. And note that the power flow is sometimes used, it is actually energy which flows, and the power being the time rate of energy flow. A similar usage occurs when we say we pay a power bill when in fact we are actually paying for electrical energy. Likewise, when a signal is from a transmitter supplied to the antenna, it sends out electromagnetic waves into free space. So the electromagnetic field characteristics vary as a function of a distance from the antenna, and they are broadly classified into two regions called near field region and far field region. The near field region is a region next to the antenna. It is defined by the equation that is the near field region occurs for a distance which is very less than 2d squared by lambda, where d is the maximum linear dimension of the antenna and lambda is the wavelength. And the near field is further divided into two parts, that is a reactive near field and radiative near field. And the reactive near field is the region that is adjacent to the antenna. In this region, the E field and H field are 90 degrees out of phase with each other and therefore reactive. To radiate or propagate, the E H fields need to be orthogonal and in phase with each other. So the reactive near field region is less than 0.62 into square root of d squared by lambda, where d is the maximum linear dimension of the antenna and lambda is the wavelength, right? So this radiative near field region is also called as Fresnel region. It is the region between the reactive near field and far field. This is the region where the EM field starts to transition from reactive to radiating fields. However, since they have not completely transitioned, the shape of the radiation pattern still varies with distance. So the reactive near field region lies between 0.62 into square root of d squared by lambda and 2d squared by lambda. And the second region is the far field region or Fraunhofer region, is a region that comes after the radiative near field. In this region, the EM fields are dominated by radiating fields and the E and H fields are orthogonal to each other to the direction of propagation as the plane wave. So far field region is represented by the following equation. Far field region is greater than 2d squared by lambda. So this diagram shows the graph of near and far field regions. The results for the line current from the section are easily generalized into an arbitrary but finite sized antenna. In the far field of an antenna, the fields exhibit local plane wave behavior and have 1 by r magnitude dependence. So, if parallel lines are drawn from each point of a line current, the distance r to the field is geometrically related to small r, which was derived by neglecting the higher order terms in the expression for r, and the parallel ray assumption is exact one only when the observation point is infinity, but it is a good approximation in the far field. Radiation calculations often start by assuming parallel rays and then determining r for the phase by geometrical techniques. For the general source, we can write that capital R is equal to small r minus r dash into cos alpha. Using the definition of dot product, it can be written as capital R is equal to r minus r vector dot r dash. So this is a general approximation to r for the phase vector in the radiation integral. The definition of the distance from the source where the far field begins is where errors due to parallel rays approximation become significant. The distance where the far field begins, RFF, is taken to be the value of r, for which the path length deviation due to neglecting the third term is the 16th of the wavelength. So this corresponds to a phase error of 2 pi by lambda into lambda by 16, that is equal to pi by 8 radians, that is 22.5 degree. So if the length of the line source RFF is found by equating the maximum value of the third term, which occurs for z dash is equal to d by 2 and theta is equal to 90 degree to a 16th of wavelength. So d by 2 the whole squared by 2 RFF will be lambda by 16 and RFF will be 2d squared by lambda. This is how we get the far field distance as 2d squared by lambda, right? So the condition r is far greater than d is in association with the approximation of capital R is equal to small r, and this is usually a sufficient condition for antennas operating in the UHF region and above. At lower frequencies where the antenna can be small compared to the wavelength, the far field distance may have to be greater than 2d squared by lambda in order that all conditions are satisfied. And we can now generalize that the discussion to any finite antenna of maximum extent d, and the distance to the far field is 2d squared by lambda. This zone was historically called as Fraunhofer region if the antenna is focused at infinity. That is, if the rays at large distances from the antenna when transmitting are parallel. In the far field region, the radiation pattern is independent of the distance. For example, the sin theta pattern as an ideal dipole is valid anywhere in its far field. The zone interior to RFF is called the near field, is divided into sub-region as I said earlier. It is the reactive field and the radiative field. The reactive field is closest to the antenna and is that region for which the reactive field dominates over the radiative fields. This region extends up to a distance of 0.622 square root of this q by lambda from the antenna. And for an ideal dipole for which d is equal to delta z, which is far less than lambda, this distance is lambda by 2 pi. Between the reactive near field and the far field regions is the radiating near field, in which the radiation fields dominate and where the angular field distribution depends on the distance from the antenna. For an antenna focused at infinity, the region is sometimes referred to as Fresnel regions. So, if the derivation itself need not to be repeated each time the antenna is analyzed, that is, it is not necessary to return the Maxwell equation with each new antenna system. Instead, we work from the results of the line source and its generalization, which can be reduced to 3 steps. Okay, the first step is to find A, to select the coordinate system most compatible with the geometry of the antenna using the notation, and the magnitude factor and the parallel ray approximation for determining the phase differences over the antenna. So, for second step is to find E. In general, isocomponent E is equal to minus j omega A. And the third step is to find H. We'll use the plane wave relation, that is H is equal to 1 by eta into R vector into E. So this equation expresses that in the far field, the directions of the E and H are perpendicular to each other and to the direction of the propagation, and also that their magnitudes are related by eta. For Z directed source, H phi is equal to E theta by eta. So the most difficult step is that first on calculating the radiation integral, and this uniform line source example also provides a specific setting for introducing general radiation pattern concepts and definitions. And the uniform line source is a line source for which the current is constant along its extent. If we use z-directed uniform line source centered at the origin along the z-axis, the current can be written as I of z is equal to I naught, where x dash is equal to 0. So since the radiation pattern is the variation over a sphere centered on the antenna, R is a constant based on the near and far field regions. And here we have only theta and 5 variations of the field. It is convenient to normalize the field expression such that the maximum value is unity. And in general, E theta can be a complex valued, and so that f of theta comma 5 can also be the same. And in this case, the phase is usually set to 0 at the same point. The magnitude is normalized to unity. This is appropriate since we are all interested in relative phase behavior, and the pattern variation is of course independent of R. An element of current on the z-axis is a normalized field pattern always, and there is no phi variation. Thank you.